Hey guys, Mr. T here, just doing another video. This one's on using offset accounts. So this covers 8C6 and 8C7, which is my own bonus chapter that I had to write, and I'll explain why I had to write another chapter to go with the book as we go. So some home loans can have an associated offset account. I have one myself, and I use this feature. It's essentially a savings account into which money can be deposited when withdrawn, and it doesn't earn interest, and you'll see why it doesn't earn interest soon. So the utility of an offset account is that any money in the offset account offsets or reduces the current debt on the loan while the money is in the offset account. So that's why you're not going to be earning interest on any money in the offset account, because the whole purpose of it is to reduce the amount of interest that you pay on your loan. It reduces that by reducing the debt on your loan by the amount that's in the offset account while it's in there. So conceptually, offset accounts work much like a lump sum to reduce the debt. It's taking away from your current PV. However, you prefer offset accounts because the money stays available. It's not used. It's not spent like it is when making a lump sum payment. So you can withdraw your offset in emergency, for instance. But just remember that if you withdraw that money from the offset, the reducing of the debt effect is lost. So that brings us to the 3 ways offset accounts can be used, and the reason why I had to write an extra chapter. There's 3 ways you can use offset accounts. They have varying difficulties in their calculation. So number 1, you can use the offset for the whole loan term. So basically you set up the payments to pay off the loan as normal, so the default home loan, but the principal is reduced by the offset for the whole loan. So basically you keep money in the offset account for the whole time you have this home loan going. And so essentially what you're doing is you're paying for a smaller loan amount with the original payment set up for the original loan. So you're paying too much, and so you solve for N because the time to pay off that loan is reduced. The book teaches this perfectly fine, so it's got this. Now, SACE expects you to be able to handle offsets part way into the loan, and it doesn't teach you how to do that properly. So I had to write my own chapter. So the rest of this and the 8C.7 that you have to do, in addition to 8C.6, that's not in the textbook, is to make sure that we cover SACE. So you can have an offset part way into the loan and just keep it in there. So here you begin paying off the loan as normal, but money's placed in the offset account only part way through, and then you keep it in there for the rest of the loan. So you essentially need to find the debt left at the point that you put the offset money in, and so you subtract the offset from the debt and solve for N. So it works exactly like a lump sum that you pay off part way into the loan. The way that you're doing the offset here works exactly the same as that. And I'll show an example anyway. Now, the main reason for me having to write a new chapter and the main purpose of this video is to show you how to do an offset part way into the loan, which you only keep in the offset account for a short time. This is also known as an offset within the loan term. So if you bother reading your book and the examples, they only show you how to deal with an offset within the loan term for one compounding period, 1 month. But SACE requires us to be able to do it for any length of time within the loan term. So that's why I had to write you this extra chapter 8C.7, and we had to chuck it onto the timeline there. This is the most complication you need to deal with for this topic. It's the longest. It has the most elements. It's the last question in the test. I might as well tell you that now. It's going to be worth a good chunk of your marks. Why is it difficult? It's because you need to split the loan into every section that the conditions change. You need to find the debt, FV, when you pay the offset in. You also need to subtract the offset from the debt and find the offset debt, FV, at the end of the offset period. So whenever you take the money out of the offset account again, you need to work out the FV, how much you owe the bank at the end of that point in time. And then lastly, you need to then add the offset back on once you've removed it from the account, because you're losing that debt reducing effect of the offset if you take it out of the offset account. And then you find the remaining time N to taken to pay off the rest of the loan. So we're going to go through all 3 examples in this video, and you'll see why the last one is the most difficult. So example 1, default loan with a $10,000 offset for the whole loan term. So I'll reintroduce our good friend, the default loan. So remember this, you set up your payments for the default loan, but you find N because you're paying off a smaller debt because it's been offset for the whole time. So you're solving for N. The interest rate remains the same. PV was originally, by default, was 500 grand, but I'm offsetting it by 10,000 for the whole loan term. So the actual debt for the whole loan term is going to be 490,000. The payments are for the original loan amount, which was 500 grand. So the payments are negative 2684.11 to do decimal places. What do I want to owe the bank at the end of the loan? Nothing. PY is 12. CY is also 12. So if I chuck that into the calculator, the numbers in, you're going to get 343.88 months to 2 decimal points. So we can work out the interest. So I can move this down. The interest is going to be I is equal to the payments, $2,684.11 times by 343.88 payments minus 490,000, which was my PV, and I got the debt down to 0. So that is going to be 433,011.75. So the interest saved is going to be I saved is going to be, shouldn't have put him away so early, 466,279. So we're comparing it to the default loan minus the interest that I paid with this strategy. That's going to equal $33,267.85. So essentially, the offset's working like a lump sum that you kept, that you paid off right from the start. Okay, so that's the amount of interest saved for that scenario. Moving down. I better take my default with me. So the example 2 is the default loan with $10,000 offset after 10 years, and then you keep it in for the rest of the loan term. So this is slightly more complicated, but it works out the same as a lump sum partway into the loan. So you need to work out what happens in the first 10 years. I need to work out what my debt is after 10 years. So 10 times by 12 is 120. The interest rate is the default 5. PV is what I started off with. I'm paying off the loan as normal. My payments are the default to negative $2,684.11. Because I've only been paying the loan off for 10 years, I'm not going to pay it off in full. So I'm going to have a remaining debt, which is $406,710.03 to 2 decimal points. And PY and CY are both 12. So that tells me the amount of debt I have after 10 years. But then I put an offset in. So we need to work out what happens after the offset, remaining years of offset, because it's all offset. I'm keeping the offset money in the whole time. So because I'm reducing the debt by the offset, it's going to shorten the remaining loan term, so I'm solving for n. The interest rate is still 5. My remaining debt is what we have from here, $406,710.03, but it's being reduced by 10 grand for the remainder of the loan term. So it's going to be 396,710.03 that I'm paying off for the remainder of the loan term. The payments are still negative 2684.11. PY is, I forgot FB. I want to pay off the rest of the loan with the offset in, so 0. PY is equal to 12 and CY is also equal to 12. So if I chuck that into the calculator, I get N is 230.08 to 2 decimal points. And so now I have 2 chunks of interest that I need to calculate. So the interest for this section is going to be 2684.11, and I paid 120 times, minus 500 grand, but I only got the debt down to 406,710.03, and that gives me 228,803.23 for first 10 years. Now I need to do the interest for the remainder of the loan. I was paying the same thing, 2684.11 times by 230.08. Oh, it's minus. When I made the offset, my debt was 396,710.03. And I got the debt down to 0. That gives me $2,20850.0 to 2DP for remainder. So the remainder of the time. So the interest total is equal to the first chunk, the first 10 years, plus the remaining years, $449,653.23. So the interest saved is going to be the default amount of interest paid, 466,279.6, 466,279.60 minus what I paid in interest for this loan, where I had the offset 10 years in and I kept it in for the remaining time. That's going to give me $16,626.37 saved by doing that. So it saves more than 10 grand by doing that offset. Why? Because I kept it in for more than half of the loan period. So it does save. You didn't lose that 10 grand. You could have withdrawn it whenever you wanted. So that's how you deal with an offset partway into the loan, but kept in for the rest of the time. So now this is the big one. If you thought those were big, this is the biggest. But the concept remains the same, okay? It's the way that you calculate it's all exactly the same. It's just more parts. And the reason why there's more parts here is because you hold the offset in for a limited time and then you take it out again. So there becomes 3 chunks. There becomes the time before the offset, the time during the offset. So you can see the example is default loan with 10,000 offset after 10 years. Then I withdraw the offset after 5 years. So you got 10 years before the offset, 5 years of offset, and then the remaining time after the offset. So I've deliberately chosen the example of 10 years into the loan. I get an offset because I already did the calculations for that. So first 10 years, N was 10 times 12, which is 120. The interest rate was 5. My loan was 500 grand. PMT was negative 2684.11. I wanted to find my debt after 10 years. It was negative 406,710.03, 2 decimal points. PY was 12, CY was also 12. So that was the first 10 years. Now I need to do the 5 years of offset time. So the 5-year offset. So I've got 5 years worth of payments. 5 times by 12 is 60. The interest rate stays the same. However, for these 5 years, my debt is reduced. So it's 406,710.03. The debt is reduced by the offset while it's in there. So it's going to be 396,710.03. The payments remain the same, negative 2684.11. I want to work out what do I still owe the bank after this 5 years of offset. So that's why I'm still finding FV. PY is 12. CY is also 12. So if I solve for this, the offset reduced 5 years. After 5 years, my debt gets down to $326,585.45 to 2 decimal points. So that's the 5 years sorted. And now we need to sort out the remaining time. So the offset gets removed. So I still have a remainder of the loan to pay off. But it's after I've taken the offset money out. So I'm not reducing it anymore. Years after offset. So I want to know how long it's going to take to pay off my remaining debt. But that debt's been reduced by a little bit because I had an offset in there for a short time, 5 years. So PV, this is where the trick comes in. My debt was reduced to $326,585.45. You can see that from here. After the 5 years of offset, that's how much I owed the bank. However, because I'm taking the offset money out, I'm withdrawing it, my debt goes up by 10 grand. So now it's going to be 336,585.45 that I owe the bank. You don't want to owe money to multiple banks. So I'm making the normal payments as before. Because I'm not doing anything else funny after this, I'm reducing the loan debt to 0. And PY is 12 and CY is also 12. If I chuck those numbers into the calculator, I get 177.77 months to 2 decimal points. Okay. So how many chunks of loan is this? That is 3 chunks of loan, so I need to do 3 chunks of interest. So this is why this calculation is so painful. There's so many parts to it, but the actual logic and the way of calculating is not too bad. Interest of the first 10 years, I did payments of 2684.11, and I did 120 times. my loan started at 500 grand, but I got it down to 406,710.03. So the interest I paid in the first 10 years was 228803.23. Interest for the 5-year offset. I was paying $2,684.11, and I did it 60 times in those 5 years, and I got the debt from 396,710.03, because I offset it, down to 32658. I better move this out of the way before I ruin it. 326,585.45. You can see that here. And that tells me the interest that I paid during the offset was only $90,922.02. And then I've got the interest and the remainder of the loan. I was paying 2684.11 as before, but it was 177.77 times. 177.77 times minus what was my debt. Well, the offset was removed, so the debt increased by 10 grand, so it's 336,585.45. So 336,585.45, and I got the debt down to 0. So I'm going to be paying $140,568.78 to 2 decimal points in interest. I need to total these up because there's 3 chunks of interest here. So the interest total was 228803.23 plus 90922.02 plus 140,568.78. That comes to 460,294.03. So finally we can work out the interest saved, because I finally worked out how much interest did I pay in total for this loan that was chunked into 3 separate pieces. So I can bring him back, or it. The interest saved, well, the default loan was paying $466,279.60 in interest, but this time I paid $460,294.03 in interest with this offset that happened 10 years into the loan but only lasted for 5 years, and then I took it out, and that tells me that I saved $5,985.57 saved by putting away 10 grand for only 5 years. Okay, so that is the most complex calculation you need to do. This topic, it is in your test. The concepts are just like normal. They're not any different to what you've been taught before, but this is the most pieces that I'll be asking you to chunk the loan into. Okay, so that's going to help you with 8C6 and 8C7. Hopefully that helps you out, and I will see you in the next video.